Good evening, and welcome to the mBBC election stream. We'll be bringing you the results as they come in from all across the country. In the last election, the Conservative Party were returned as the largest party, alongside gains for UKIP and the NUP, which saw a broad right coalition form for the duration of the term. On Thursday, the electorate went to the polls to decide who would be running the country for another term, this time with major changes in parties, candidates and leaders. We've seen a new Prime Minister in Dr Caesar MD, the coalitioning of the broad left-wing parties under United Front, and a merger between the Conservatives and UKIP. So who will the public have voted for, and who will they place their trust in this term? First indications of whether Dr Caesar MD will still have the keys to number 10 tomorrow morning will come with the exit poll that we can reveal soon TM. In the studio, I'm joined by WhatsApp 008 and Leachy62, who will be helping to get the thoughts, views and verdicts from a wide range of politicians, from ex-Prime Ministers to current candidates. And we will be hearing what they have to say right here from the mBBC Election Centre. Our team will be working hard tonight to analyse all the results and individual contests as they come in from the country tonight. And Leachy62 is able to look at each of the individual 50 constituencies and 12 list ridings, and analyse the competitions that are going on there. So there are only a few seconds left until Big Ben strikes, and I'll be able to reveal the results of the YouGov exit poll for mBBC and Channel 4. Thousands of people were questioned at polling stations up and down the country today, and we will soon be able to reveal what we think has happened tonight. To reveal what we believe has happened. Our polling predicts that the Conservatives are the largest party with 42 total seats. Greens and Labour will be tied on 16. The Liberal Democrats will have 9, the NUP will have 8, United Front 7 and the Classical Liberals 5. So this is quite a revelation. Very, very strong showing for the Conservative Party. Completely eclipsing the parties behind them. Quite impressive. And this puts serious credence to the question of whether the broad left will be able to retake government in this term. It looks quite unlikely. It's entirely possible the Conservatives could even seek to form a minority government on their own. This poll does also, just to clarify, this isn't showing 5 other seats which were split between other categories and the nationalists. So, Leachy62, Emma, what are your thoughts on this exit poll?
Yep. Well, clearly, as you say, a very strong showing for the Conservatives. However, it's not to be unexpected after the merger with UKIP and a relatively successful term. We see the NUP on 8, which could lead to another broad right coalition with 50 seats and a majority government. As you say, 16 plus 16 plus 9 in a potential left-wing coalition isn't anywhere near that 50. And it's certainly looking more likely to be a broad right coalition this term. The United Front, 7 we can see there, obviously between the Communist Foundation and RSP, for example, altogether, they've done very successfully from 7, considering the RSP's turnout, for example. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the polling anyway.
Can I just say I agree with what Leachy said. The Conservatives have had a strong term in government. They've produced a lot of legislation. They've done a lot in Parliament, and out on the campaign trail, they've been very active. I've heard a lot about the Conservative machine, which is something that is bandied about quite a lot recently. So I think actually, like this is a very well done result. Hopefully, this might be the truth. I think the Conservatives have actually done very, very well out on the campaign trail, and I think this could be very well reflective of actually the time in government, the campaign trail, and everything else.
Yes, and with us tonight in the studio we have Eurojack, the CEO of the polling company responsible for producing this poll. So,
hello there.
Would you like to tell us about the methodology you used to produce this?
So we talk to constituents all around the country in a large amount of polling stations, and we believe that this exit poll, while not on the nail, most likely, there will be a few seats that do end up changing hands. We do believe that this poll will be quite accurate to the final results, and it is certainly very interesting.
Yes, it's interesting to see because it's rather difficult to see how the Conservatives could command a majority. So this House, we predict, will have 105 seats, which means that, of course, to command a majority, you would need 53. And the Conservatives are still a way off, so they would have to put together some kind of coalition. But it's difficult to see what kind of coalition that could be. Because, for example, Dunks, who in the clips has repeatedly ruled out working with the NUP. So you wouldn't be able to get both the NUP and the Clibs on side. So possibly some kind of government propped up by an informal relationship, perhaps a Conservative NUP returning government with an agreement with the Clibs, some form of supplying confidence.
Yes, and there could be some sort of... We could actually see nationalist parties and other parties weighing in. We're projecting there to be 2 other seats, which I would guess means that there's a Radical seat and an Agrarian League seat. But and the 3 nationalist seats leads me to believe that there might be an INP seat, which means that Agrarian League and INP could sort of chip in to the confidence and supply, and it could lead to there being a more right-wing government.
Yes, I'm trying to see any way that there could be any kind of viable left-wing government, but I just don't think the numbers are in their favour.
No, the right wing has a majority of seats.
I think something as well to note about the majority, we should take sex poll with a grain of salt. Definitely pinch salt. It just takes the Conservatives to win another 3 seats or 4 seats.
Of course.
To coalition with the NUP, and that's then got a government, or even the NUP to win a few more seats, or the 2 of them combined. So, or it could go the other way. That's also another option we mustn't forget.
Yeah, Leachy's very right here. This poll will not be 100% accurate. We do expect to see a couple of seats changing hands from this preliminary number, and we could see maybe the Conservatives will have enough to even form a majority coalition between themselves and the NUP.
Yeah, I mean, there's some marginal constituencies, for example, which could kind of flip either way.
Exactly.
Loads around the country. I mean,
we're especially treat figures with the United Front, the classical liberals, the nationalist parties, and the other parties with a grain of salt, because we do not have previous results to compare these parties to, as they've not run in previous elections. So there, we could see more major swings with those parties.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That's something to remember.
The magic of psephology has been hard at work here.
Yes, it has been indeed.
Something I would like to add is we can't roll out the Lib Dems because you can see later in the term they kind of moved backwards and forwards on the scales of power, as it were, and we don't know whether they would side with the Conservatives, maybe because the leadership of the Lib Dems is of a more right-wing origin than it has been previously.
Yes, I know the classical liberals have signalled quite a few times that they would like a Conservative and Lib Dem coalition, with Alexion on the Holyrood stream talking about the ideal government of Holyrood being Conservatives, Lib Dem, and Clibs. And I think that a lot of classical liberal members have continued this, but I think that there's been a severe deterioration of trust between the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats during the whole budget fiasco, which could mean that there is quite a lot of difficulties with the formation of a coalition between the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats at this stage.
Oh, absolutely. But I do think that it is a possibility we can't rule out at this point in the game, because of course it's all about forcing. It's all about forming a government that's in the national interest, and I'm sure national interest comes before party politics.
Exactly, and as far as I know, none of the parties have ruled out coalitioning with the other parties. I don't think. I mean, obviously, there's been quite a few people that have ruled out from across the ideological spectrum, but around the centre with Conservatives and Liberal Democrats, I don't think that either have ruled out coalition. I may be wrong.
No, I don't think. I've not heard or seen anything out on the campaign trail when I've been around about anybody ruling anything out, really, apart from the classical liberal and the NUP not wanting to work together. But
we have seen some major figures within the Conservative Party disapproving of the National Unionist Party, like the former UKIP leader, Dominion of Canada, during a constituency hustings in southwest London, said that he would prefer not to go into coalition with the National Unionist Party.
Yeah, and I think the Green Party did challenge the Conservatives on their record of jumping into bed, as it were, with a right-wing party like the NUP, and they have quite clearly distanced themselves from the NUP. So
if they don't do so well, then it could be an underpolling, for example, for the Greens. In that constituency, it is one with Sergio, who is the prominent figure there, very senior figure within the Green Party, likely to probably win that. That's certainly what we'd expect anyway. So let's. Do we have a time for when we're expecting the declaration imminent then, Justin Nuke?
Nope. When they say they're done counting, these are some very busy sixth formers. We're told they're using their fingers to count just to make extra sure, but that's slowing things down a little bit. So it'll be ready when it's ready.
Yep, I'm also up guests on throughout the night, so we'll get ex-politicians, we'll be getting pundits, commentators.
don't forget those ex-prime ministers.
Ex-prime ministers, getting them all on tonight, and most of the way it's going to be
having a very exciting conversation, getting their verdicts,
indeed,
their projections, their insight.
Yep. Yes,
Don't
indeed.
you worry, we will have the commentary of the century here tonight.
We will have the absolute commentary of the century, and we're expecting our first guest on just before Tyne and Weir, probably Tyne and Weir. We can't confirm that yet because obviously natural how the sixth formers do, really. Not really much competition, we don't think. But
what we can confirm, though, is that these sixth formers are running very, very fast.
They are running very, very fast, and we're expecting Real Friends, who is a Conservative Member of Parliament, to come on and speak to us just before we get our results, and through that Tyne and Weir result, assuming that no other result comes in at the same time. So we'll be able to bring on Real Friends just before we get the declaration in. So let's go through and just kind of revisit this kind of exit poll, perhaps in line with some of the other polling suggestions by YouGov. We saw very high Conservative polling at the beginning of the campaign, with the Greens not doing as well, and some very close marginals. Very close marginals. What we've seen here is kind of like a slight drop in the Conservatives, because the mention of a Conservative majority was potentially high. I mean, I discussed it on the Lake 62 show, and it certainly wasn't being something disregarded by some politicians. So we've seen the Conservative vote potentially squeezed or overpolled originally by the Highland Polling Company and Wellman Galls. So we'll just have to wait until Tyne and Weir. I think that until Tyne and Weir comes, we can probably speak to Real Friends. Let's just check he's here. Yep. Welcome into Real Friends. He is the Conservative candidate for Gloucestershire and Wiltshire, and we'll just bring him into the studio right now. Hello, Real Friends.
Hello.
Hello, thank you very much for joining us on the MBBC this evening. Just to clarify, you're the Conservative MP for, candidate for Gloucester and Wiltshire, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. So, what are your thoughts on the exit poll?
Well, I think it's no surprise to me and many of my colleagues. We've had a great term in government, probably been the most successful government in history in this country, actually, passing some of our landmark legislation reversing some of the socialist legislation that was passed last term. We've got so many manifesto pledges passed, and we've looked just unbeatable this term. And I think the British people are just mandating us to continue that. I think that's what the exit polls are suggesting at this time. But of course, we have to take them with a pinch of salt.
You know, the polling has closed. You don't have to keep campaigning.
Well, this isn't campaigning. This is just the truth. You see, I'm not speaking in rhetoric anymore. I'm speaking in complete fact.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, campaigning plays a key role in how the electorate see. Sorry, just seen a meme on Twitter. And how the electorate perceives the parties and how they go out to vote. How do you think the Conservative Party has done on the campaign trail in comparison to the other parties?
I think, in comparison to other parties, I think the Conservatives have been by far the most active, the most enthusiastic, the most optimistic. We haven't been trying to bring other parties down. We've been focusing on our positives and what we can bring. And I think the exit poll would suggest that the British people have really taken to that, and have liked our positivity and have listened to what we can bring as opposed to what other parties can't.
Yeah. So let's discuss potential coalitions. I think it is probably going to look at coalition, particularly discussing the overhangs with the pollster that we had on earlier. So the Conservatives, for example, in coalition with the NUP this term, a UKIP merger, we're seeing just based on this exit poll solely, we're seeing 50 seats in total. Conservative NUP coalition, real friends?
Oh, well, of course it's an option. It's not obviously my decision. I'm not in party leadership. But I think it's clearly an option given last term and the success we had. But you can never round anything out or say one thing for certain. That was a very safe answer, I know, but obviously I'm unaware.
I've got a good question for you, Mr. Real Friend. So you say you've delivered a lot and you've had a very strong and stable time in government over the last term. My question to you, Mr. Real Friend, is what can we expect from a Conservative government? What have you got planned if you achieve a second term?
Well, of course, more pragmatism, more stability, and of course more strength, as you so kindly pointed out. And our manifesto speaks volumes of what we aim to introduce. And based on the success we had last term, where we introduced basically all of our manifesto commitments, bar a couple of defeats that we did face, we've you can just expect more manifesto commitments to be met. The British people give us a mandate, we take that on, we take pride in that, and we've delivered, and that's what we'll do next term.
So you're hoping that the British public deliver with you to have a massive mandate then? Is that what you're hoping for? A massive positive mandate?
A great stunking positive mandate.
That would be beautiful, wouldn't it?
Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. So not really talking about the classical liberals, could be kingmakers actually in this election. Would the Conservatives prioritise the NUP or the classical liberals in a potential coalition with friends?
I mean, I don't think I'm in much of a position to talk on that. I do think it will depend on numbers. Obviously, this exit poll is in no way set in stone. So we'd obviously have to look at the numbers that come in. We'd have to look at negotiations. Things can change during negotiations. So I don't think there would really be a priority for the Conservative leadership. I think it would just be a play it by ear and see what happens.
So my question again is, so you've had a change of prime minister, I do believe, in the last parliament. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
So will Dr. Caesar MD be looking for the full term as the prime minister? Do you think? How the jungle drums in the Conservative Party beating? Do you have any insights for us on that, or?
Well, everyone's really happy with Dr. Caesar MD as our leader. He is a strong and stable leader. He's, and I can completely see him seeing this term out and beyond, given the fact that the Conservative Party in the years of its existence, over the last 3 years, have only had, only the 3 last MHoC years, have had 4 leaders. Our leaders stay around for a long, long time because they do want to see their plans come to fruition. We're not about instability and switching up our leaders. We like to see them stay, and that's what I can foresee happening this term.
I just asked because the biggest challenge in terms of Prime Minister candidate in this election was, of course, Up 008, and she kind of wibble wobbled and defected just after the polls closed. So I'm just making sure that, asking to see if the Conservatives think they've got a strong and stable leader that's going to govern in the national interest if they get into government.
Oh, absolutely. Like we've seen from the last term, our former leader, Inferno Plato, actually resigned from the role of Prime Minister fairly early in the term. It was within the first third or the first quarter, and we've seen Dr. Caesar MD take up the mantle and stick at it this whole time, and I can see that continuing. As for the Green, their Prime Minister candidate, I'm not an expert on what happened there, but I can't see that, but I know that will not happen with our Conservative leader.
That's very reassuring to know that the Conservatives are very strong, very stable at the moment. No wibbly wobbling, no kind of retreating, no coalition of chaos, no flipping flopping, because of course the Lib Dems have not shown themselves to be strong and capable of late, have they? With their budget kind of negotiations being a bit all up in the air. And
are you okay there, Emma? I think you're going slightly nuts.
I'm okay.
It's been a long Parliament term.
Establish how strong and capable the Conservatives are in terms of internal politics, because of course, as the exit poll indeed does show, the Conservatives could very well have a majority, and they could very well form a very, very strong government. And I just want to make sure that their internal structure is that, so that we have a decent government, a strong government, and we don't have an election in a fortnight's time.
Well, that is something I can assure. I'm not in the highest position in the party, but I can assure strength and stability. I can assure, that continued pragmatism, success that you saw last term, that brought us so much success.
Oh, Mr. Real Friend, you do play yourself down. You're very modest. You have followed your work in Parliament, and I do look up to you as a parliamentarian.
Well, thank you very much.
I suppose the next question, of course, is will you be seeking any kind of ministerial role if you end up in government?
Well, I mean, again, that's not my decision, but over the last term, I have served as the Secretary of State for Wales, in which I passed several pieces of legislation that helped to connect the north to the south, that helped to inform young people about higher education, and if that's something I want to do, because we had to address the gap that was in Wales with higher education applications. So, again, I'm quite happy with what I did in my term as cabinet, in my time in cabinet. So, but again, it's not my decision. I wouldn't say no to another cabinet position, but it's not my decision.
Oh, absolutely. Do you feel that you have a commitment to the people of Wales, having already served in the cabinet as Secretary of State for Wales?
Of course. I feel like I served them very well as both their MP and as the Secretary of State for Wales last term. However, I do feel like it's always nice to have a fresh perspective on issues, to give others the opportunity to serve Wales as I like to think I did well. So, if there was someone more qualified, or if there's someone that was more, if there was someone that was chosen to do it, I wouldn't have any opposition to that. But of course, I do have a commitment to Wales, but I have, done my part for them, I believe.
I just asked because you're standing in Gloucestershire and Wiltshire in this election, I believe. So that's not a Welsh constituency, as we all know. Just wondering whether you're distancing yourself from Wales, or I'm just wondering what the switch up with where you kind of are standing is, and
it's not. As you know, the Welsh secretary doesn't have to be a Welsh MP, so there's no significance to that. It's just a matter of circumstances, something that happened. But you know, that's just obviously I am still committed. I have a connection to the Welsh people, and I hope with the next Senedd election coming up that the Welsh could the Welsh Conservatives can continue to excel there and get some seats.
oh, that sounds very, very positive.
Yes.
So how do you fancy your chances in your constituency? You're facing some names there that I've not really seen around before in terms of politics. You are probably the face of that constituency in terms of people that are standing there. So how do you reckon your chances are?
I mean, as you may know, Gloucestershire and Wiltshire is quite a conservative area. We've had great success there in the past. They've put their faith in us in the past. At the last election, they voted for our manifesto that we've completely delivered on this term. So I'm pretty confident that they will see that we delivered on the manifesto they voted for, and they will vote for us again this term to see those great policies pass this term.
Do you have a question about your manifesto? I have just had a quick flick through your previous manifesto, and I see that you haven't really delivered anything in the education section. So is this something that you're going to address as a party, do you think, as a shortfall that kind of maybe got overlooked by your sterling work in other areas? Or where do you see making it?
Yeah, as we were of course a minority government this term, so there were some areas which we had to put on hold, put on the back burner, but are back in our manifesto for this year. As a minority government, it is hard. You have to prioritise. We still managed to deliver a lot, considering we were a minority government, which is very impressive, including a budget, reintroducing right to buy, private healthcare tax credits. But there were some areas that we did have to put on the back burner, but we've put them back in our manifesto. We hope the people of Britain will vote for that manifesto once again, and we can deliver on it this next term. And I'm sure I and the rest of my colleagues will play a huge role in introducing those policies in our manifesto.
So would you say you were held back by being in a coalition with the UKIP party and the NUP in delivering what essentially are promises to the country? Do you think you were held back in that? Is that what you're trying to say, that you were not?
No, it wasn't we weren't held back by our coalition partners, because we worked incredibly well together, as you can see from the fact that we served a whole term. But what we were held back by was obviously we didn't have a majority. So when it came to legislation that the other parties didn't agree with, it was very tough, especially when there may be red lines for other parties, red lines, and it just can't be done in a minority at times. But we weren't held back generally, considering the amount that we did pass. To pass a budget with a minority government is incredibly difficult, and we did it easily.
Yeah, I hear it was touted as the best budget ever by some, and
it was certainly the greenest budget ever.
Well, I have a question on that then. I do believe you did cut some environmental funding. Is that something you'll put your hands up to and agree with?
Well, I wasn't instrumental personally in the creation of the budget, but I've read it. I can see that funding was fully maintained, and that we've delivered a budget for the environment, a budget that no other left wing government has delivered, with the Green parties included. So it was the greenest budget of all time, and we've maintained funding.
Absolutely.
Right,
I do think that was a great budget.
Indeed.
And, it was a budget that you managed to pass with a minority government, as you said, and you worked hard, and you worked with other parties, albeit some of them actually in the official opposition, which was a bit naughty. with some of the way they voted, but that's not the conversation for tonight. We're here to talk about the election and the future, of course.
We are indeed. So that means we need to begin to look at Tyne and Weir, because getting news from there that the sixth formers are almost done. No, it's all good.
No, unfortunately, one of the sixth formers fell over and scraped their knee, so there's been a slight delay.
Oh, I hope they do get
That's shocking.
Yeah, there have been terrible injuries.
Is there blue kitchen roll available to kind of
Oh no,
I'm
afraid the budget wasn't up to that. I'm afraid all they could afford was some kitchen roll. They couldn't get the blue paper towels.
But they increased education spending. So
Oh yeah, and obviously NHS spending, completely safe under the Conservatives, and look what's happened. We've got great first aid ready there for our sixth formers.
No, we haven't though. There's no blue paper towel. This poor sixth former is going to be disabled for life after this scraped knee.
Conservatism in action.
Our excellent paramedic services will be there in record times to help them out.
It's a grievous injury.
Can I ask you a question very quickly? Is it true, the rumours that 999 will actually become a premium rate number? Is there any truth to these rumours, or is this?
Oh, Emma,
well,
that's a very cruel thing to say.
Right.
I've just got word from the sixth former. They've managed to limp their way to the last checkpoint to hand over their box. So we are able to declare Tyne and Weir. There is a declaration imminent. Is everyone ready?
Tyne and Weir are first result of general election 8.
Pens
on coming in
left.
now. Tyne and Weir has been won by the Green parties. One with Sergio has taken it with an impressive majority of 95k. 2,000 votes went to one with Sergio. 1,500. Sorry, no, I've read that out. I'll say that again because I ballsed that up slightly. 200k to one with Sergio. 105k to non-prehension of Labour. With Cake of the Conservative parties taking 97k. Detecting Guru of the NUP taking 65k, and Ed Barrell of the Classical Liberals taking 39k. Ooh, very disappointing night for the NUP and the Klebs there, but quite an impressive majority of one with Sergio. It was polled to be a fairly safe Green seat, but still they've managed to hold on to that, which could indicate that the Greens have done slightly better than expected.
Indeed, but we have to be very careful that we remember that Roman Sergio was the only candidate in that constituency who was active on the campaign and had numerous events. We have to remember that, and that's a crucial part of how well we do. They're also a very senior figure within the Green Party, a known face, has been around for a long time. Tyne and Weir Newcastle representative for a long time. And it's really important we remember that when someone like this is against all of these other parties, they are very likely to win, and to the extent that we've seen thus far. I think we can now probably bring in the individual that commissioned the exit poll, Eurojack, who is the commissioner of YouGov.
Hello.
How has the exit poll gone?
So I think that the exit poll is, I think we've taken into account this result. We were thinking that Tyne and Weir would go green, and we've been projecting it in our other projections. It has pretty much been won with Sergio, who has been the only active candidate on this campaign poll. So I don't think that and this is a relatively safe left-wing seat, so I don't think it's a massive shock to see this result, and I think that the exit poll will still be holding up.
Okay.
Did you manage to predict just how strong a showing this would be? Because the majority of one of Sergio is almost as big as the Labour candidate's total vote.
Yeah, when we were looking through this result and calculating our projections for Tyne and Weir, we definitely thought it was a very safe Green seat. So, yeah, this is predictable. It is a very large majority, but it doesn't surprise me too much.
Yeah, indeed. I agree with the commissioner of that poll that this is certainly something that we shouldn't be shocked at. Even without an exit poll, I think we probably would have expected this, and it perhaps has. Well, I think it's difficult to see it on a constituency like this how accurate the exit poll is, but it's certainly not way off. 16, we don't know where 16 could come from. In the next few seats, we'll probably begin to see some more, marginals, for example, and how they are. I think probably expecting.
Yeah.
What we're expecting next? We're expecting
Well,
probably
we don't know,
to
really.
either be central London, perhaps Manchester, perhaps North London. One of the London seats, perhaps Manchester. We're not sure.
No, I think something we should be looking at with this is how this result may affect the Northumbria constituency and the list vote for North East. I think that it could mean that there might be a very strong Green showing in Northumbria, and it could lead to Ice Cream Sandwich 401 taking that seat. But we'll see how it goes.
If I can just interject, I'm sorry, but as we can see though, like one with Sergio is actually a very, very strong candidate, as has been said, and he has been very active and he has very strong views, and obviously they have been received, understood, and agreed with by quite a few of the constituents, and they've turned out to vote. We don't have the turnout figures, but 200,000 people saying yes to a green Tyne and Wear and wanting a green government. I do think that is a strong mandate for the Greens in that constituency. We'll see how they do elsewhere.
Yeah, in that specific constituency, I think we have to be aware of that. Though I mean, like, do we still have Real Friends in here? We do.
Yeah.
For example, in Real Friends constituency, we're probably more likely to see something similar. I mean, Gloucestershire is a very conservative constituency. Probably more likely to see something like that there, merely because of the demographics of the United Kingdom and factors which make people vote and the way they do. Yeah, I think the point that Eurojack makes with regards to the regional list ballot result in the northeast, which combines Tyne and Wear. Yeah, Tyne and Wear and Northumbria. We could see, perhaps Ice Cream Sandwich taking that. But we also have to look at who endorsed one with Sergio. So the Liberal Democrat, so this is for the Tyne and Wear constituency. One with Sergio had an endorsement from the Liberal Democrats, from the Radical Socialists, the Communist Party, the Christian Workers' Party, and the Radicals. It's a very wide range of endorsements, particularly from parties like the Liberal Democrats, who are large in comparison to the other four parties who are running under that title, United Front. Obviously, KK Totoon, Non-Prehension, didn't have any endorsements. Real Friends, how crucial a role do you think endorsements are going to play in this election?
It's a very crucial erection.
I think that
the mandate we're looking for.
I think that the endorsements will play quite a crucial role, because we've seen several of the parties, such as the Greens, the United Front, the Classical Liberals, the NUP, not be able to stand, and the Liberal Democrats, not being able to stand candidates in every seat. For the Greens, quite a way off actually of standing 50 candidates in the first bus post seats. So they've had to endorse other names in those constituencies, and I think, and because there's been so many endorsements in many constituencies, the endorsements have actually doubled up, where one candidate has got 3-4 endorsements, and I think that could be extremely crucial to winning those seats where those endorsements have been made.
Yeah, I mean, another thing with regards to endorsements and things is, with parties being endorsed from around the political spectrum, so you've got Greens and Lib Dems and Communists, all of this kind of thing. One with Sergio now has to represent Liberal Democrats, who could be argued are in the centre, and Communists. How does someone do that?
Was that for me? Sorry.
Yeah, well, just any. Well, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think it's, in many ways, it's possible to do that. I think some of the endorsements in this campaign especially with the Liberal Democrats, just sort of, it seems like they've mindlessly endorsed the Greens in some constituencies. Where also, I just don't think it really works. I think the Greens and the Liberal Democrats, I think they agree on some level, but I don't think they agree on every level. And there's also, their manifestos are different in many ways. And when you look at, when the communists are then involved, and like you say, the Liberal Democrats and the communists, how can one MP represent both sort of ideologies? I don't think it is possible in many regards.
Do you not just think it's down to the fact that the Liberal Democrats are in official opposition with the Greens, and it's kind of a sticking together, so to speak?
It's not a smart decision. It's just the automatic decision, I think, that they've made.
Kind of a Tories out at all costs kind of thing.
Yeah,
they've even endorsed.
The attitude's healthy.
They've even endorsed the communists and the radical socialists in some constituencies.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the next constituency we're hearing that we're going to be getting in is Central London. Central London is the constituency which there's the communist candidate there who's been endorsed by the Green Party. And Ganderloin, the Conservative candidate there.
Oh, yes. Much loved Ganderloin.
Against the Conservatives. And Giraffism, the Labour Party. That's a three-way tie that way, I would say.
We actually have a statement from Ganderloin, which I'll be able to read out.
It
reads, woo, woo, honk, 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 woo, woo, honk, 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 woo, honk.
Okay.
Quite what that means remains up to interpretation.
Yeah,
that is a very eloquent statement, I must add. It's very eloquent. And we wish Ganderloin all the best for his contest for the seat. Hong Kong, we're back to you too.
So, this is certainly a constituency that YouGov was having more difficulty interpreting, because we could see a very close battle here between the Labour and the Communist candidate. But we'll see how this goes. I think that this will be one of the first indications of better poll, especially since the United Front was a difficult party to calculate results for, because we had no previous basis for them.
Yeah, I mean, David Swifty 13 was fairly active on the campaign trail.
Yeah,
he came in fairly late to the campaign trail, but he did have a lot of events, produced a lot of leaflets, for example. Green endorsement. What are the Greens doing endorsing a communist, real friends?
The Greens endorsing the communist?
Yes.
Well, the Greens and the RSP have been in each other's pockets for many years now, and I think this endorsement didn't surprise me as much, to be honest with you.
Right.
Do you not think that it's down to the fact that the Green Party are actually have been shown, especially with the recent defections, to be a party of the far left rather than the centre left, and that the RSP and the Greens are actually as much as the same party, but the Green Party has probably just got a slight eco twist on the RSPs.
Well,
radical socialism.
Right. I think we're going to have to cut you short. So, Nick, are we getting the declaration from Central London?
We have a declaration coming in now from Central London, which we will be relaying to you shortly. And we are seeing a communist victory in Central London. David Swift again showing an impressive majority here. To be honest, puts the last majority in Tyne and Weir to shame. That is quite something. 138,837 votes majority. That is very impressive indeed. With Giraffism coming second, Ganderloin in a painful third. Perhaps his wooing didn't quite get through. And then the Lib Dem candidate in fourth place, with the Clibs in fifth. This night so far isn't going particularly well for the Clibs.
Yes, but this is where their candidates have not been actively campaigning, so we'll have to wait until we see more active classical liberal constituencies such as Cumbria and Lancashire North, South West London, North and Central Wales. I think that will be when we get the real gauge of how the classical liberals were performing. And especially since classical liberals haven't been polling too far away from their next contenders, it could show that their national campaign has been quite successful.
Does this show, though, the resurgence of the the ashes of the RSP here, and also the resurgence of the left. We've had two very left-wing seats granted, but they are very, very strong majorities in them.
Yeah, it's usually the left-wing seats that declare first, and we must have underestimated the. We did to go to United Front, but it's definitely, we didn't project it to be a majority of this much. We thought it'd be a lot closer than this, so this could be a very big sign of an overperformance by the United Front.
Are the Conservatives worried, real friends, now, looking at Gandelines as well?
Absolutely not. I think actually considering, you know, the left-wing nature of this constituency, I think actually Gandelines' performance wasn't, you know, that bad. I think it's actually pretty good considering the left-wing strength in this seat. And, you know, just on the left-wing performance so far, I think you can almost attribute to that to the fact that, you know, when you have a successful Conservative government like we have had for the last term, you're going to get people turning out greatly in opposition in those left-wing areas. I don't think it's going to, whereas in those Conservative areas, they're going to, you know, come out strength in numbers because they're so happy with what we achieve. So I think this is just a natural response, to be honest, and it's not too much to worry about given the nature of these very left-wing seats.
Indeed. Yeah, we were going to probably expect results to start to pick up a little bit faster, obviously.
Well, yeah, it will be quieter towards the beginning, obviously, because, you know, this is the most quick seats, usually the most metropolitan as well, because that's quicker. So, you know,
the best
see sort of seats, you know, perhaps Gloucestershire and Wiltshire, Buckinghamshire, those sorts of seats will come much later because, of course, they're more rural areas, so it's more difficult to go and count them all up.
Yep, it is indeed.
Not many sixth formers either.
Ooh.
I'm just after seeing something that the former Liberal Democrats deputy leader, Explosive Horse, has just defected to the Conservative Party.
Ooh.
Oh.
This is some mid-air hot takes here. What is this?
Spicy.
The former, so was he? How long has he been the Liberal Democrat?
I can't remember, but as far as I'm aware, he was a deputy leader of the Liberal Democrats. He was at least a member of the executive. Oh,
we've had that as a sudden change. So for confirmation, Explosive Horse, former deputy leader of the Liberal Democrats, he has just defected to the Conservative Party officially at about 18 minutes past 8 o'clock, just after the Communist Refoundation win in central London. An interesting result for the Liberal Democrats in that constituency. Candidate not doing any events or anything, but that's a bizarre change at this time. Why? Why, real friend?
Well, you know, I think in my eyes, Explosive Horse has seen the sense, seen the light to come to, you know, the party that delivers on its promises.
Ah, yes, the Conservatives are the light, naturally.
So will you allow him to join the party then?
It's, you know, as I've said previously, it's not my decision, but you know, he's a very respected politician, very experienced parliamentarian, but it's not my decision.
Okay. He'll be very upset if he gets turned away now.
Right, so
take your share of refugees from the Liberal Democrats, damn it, Conservatives.
I think we're probably going to get Manchester City and South next. So
yes, that's projected to be the next seat, although we're not quite clear when it's going to come in.
Yeah, so let's discuss who's running there.
Now, was this the seat where I can't remember, is this the seat where George W.B. was running, or was this the seat where the Christian Workers' Party were standing?
George W.B. is standing in Manchester City.
Okay, but he has defected to the Labour Party, so this will be an interesting result.
Right, okay, so on the ballot we will see a green result, or a green... George W.B. as a green, 131 as a green person. It's also important to note that the Conservative candidate there is endorsed by the Classical Liberals, the No Hearts. He has been active on the campaign trail. We've got Premier Hirohito, long-time member, various parties, Premier Hirohito. But the No Heart and George W.B. is what it's looking like. George W.B. endorsement from United Front and who is the National Unionist Party.
Yeah, if I can just step in, we are getting a declaration from Manchester South. Should be with us very shortly. Now, Manchester South, we have understood, has gone green again. This is a very strong showing for the Green Party, quite strong showing for the Labour Party, and another disappointing seat for the Conservatives. Although it is worth noting, of course, this is a fairly left-wing seat, fairly metropolitan, so don't read too much into it. But we see George WB 13 doing very nicely. Another strong majority for the Greens. Looking like Labour and the Conservatives might be on their way to gaining list seats in this region, and a very sad result for the NUP.
Yeah, so we projected this seat to go green as well. We did expect it to be quite a safe green seat, but it is a bit of an interesting result because George WB has defected, so this seat won't go to him, it will go to the Green Party, who will assign it to whoever they wish to.
Whereas... oh, never mind. No, I know where he's going.
No Heart's in third. He was very active on the campaign trail.
Yeah, I think that's quite a disappointing result, given the fact that the No Heart... well, I know the No Heart was very active in the campaign. As far as I know, Premier Hirohito wasn't an active campaigner, so it is quite a disappointing result.
Indeed, but something else important to remember is Manchester is again metropolitan. Yeah. It's not a rich constituency. These are all important things to remember. Is that gain for the Green Party?
It is a gain from the National Unionist Party, I think.
Right. So it's a complete
we appear
change.
to be having some technical issues here with the graphics.
Yeah, nothing too major, but that's another Green Party win. Yeah. In terms of Premier Hirohito doing so well, I think we can maybe have a justification for why that result could be so high. It could be he has been an MP for Manchester in the past for loads of different parties for a while. He won the seat last time for the NUP, and obviously he's now Labour. So that's probably where the demographics coming from. Whilst it's interesting to change from NUP to Labour.
Yeah. This was obviously a very disappointing result for the National Unionist Party, and the Manchester area was one of their big voting areas in the past, but we're after seeing it decline quite drastically. The candidate wasn't active on the campaign trail, but this, and obviously our exit poll predicted them to lose quite a few seats. As far as I know, they were dropping from 13 down to 8. So this was definitely a sign that the prediction of the decline of NUP votes will be certainly something that will come to fruition. So,
yeah, and we'd just like to thank real friends who joined us on our stream there. We're going to bring on another 2 guests before we get the next result. I think we'll be able to bring on ex-Prime Minister, Rachel Chamberlain, and we'll also be able to bring in Kay Wilson 92, who is the Transport Party member and candidate. A very warm welcome to both of you.
Perhaps we can get some live reactions because we are ready for our next declaration, which is North London. Things are starting to pick up here a bit. Now, North London, again, we have seen a Green Party win. This one much more marginal than the previous ones, although I say that they have a majority of 60,000, but that's still a reduction.
It's certainly marginal by our standards.
AV200 taking 187,415 votes, with his nearest contender being the Lib Dems, nearly classical Liberal there. Candidate Petros AC, then Larry Sander, Paul Keating, and Sleeping Scarecrow. We're starting to see a trend here of very metropolitan areas. There's clearly the Greens are doing quite well in these sort of areas.
Yeah, hello Rachel Chamberlain, you're the Labour Prime Minister. Welcome onto the stream.
Thank you.
Okay, what do you think about this result?
I think it's very disappointing that Labour haven't actually converted their kind of campaigning in kind of seats yet. But I'm happy that the left wing are producing some major gains at the moment in obviously these metropolitan areas.
Indeed, they are. Petrol CC was relatively active on the campaign.
Yes, I believe he was also endorsed by the Classical Liberal Party.
He was indeed. Yeah, he was. Sleeping Scarecrow having endorsement policy saying not having any. Again, we see this kind of large endorsement from the Greens by the RSP, Communists, Christian workers, and the Radicals. How heavily is that contributing to the results is the question. I mean, there's kind of this big block of left-wing votes just kind of being absorbed by the Greens. Welcome to K Wilson, 92, who is a Transport Party candidate. Thank you for joining us on the stream tonight. Hello? Can we hear you, K Wilson?
No, we've got some gremlins on the line here, chaps.
Oh well, we'll just have
Hello,
to...
K Wilson? No? No.
Okay,
He's
so
down the shed with
Richard
his model trains.
Getting the Hornby out.
Come back, get back in the studio.
Anyway.
So,
Next
can I
stop,
ask
number 10.
Rachel Chamberlain, how do you expect Labour to do?
Obviously, I don't really take any notice of exit polls, but I think it's a pretty strong showing from Labour. Obviously tied with the Green Party for second place. I think, there were the days of having a ridiculous amount of seats. I think 17 is at the higher end of what I would consider kind of a good result, and I think that's a very workable situation to be in.
Thank you. That was very insightful. So, what are your thoughts on potentially, hopefully, maybe a left-wing government? The exit poll has said that, but we can say nay to the naysayers. What do you? How do you feel a left-wing government is likely? Do you feel it's likely, or do you feel it's not likely?
Well, I think that would be my preferred solution, but obviously the numbers have to add up. I think obviously what would be the kind of saddest thing from this election campaign is that we wouldn't have, if the Green Party were the leading party, a female leader, and the second female prime minister would not be part of that coalition, because obviously WhatsApp has gone to Labour, which obviously I'm grateful, but there is a great loss there.
Okay. What about the Liberal Democrats? Because obviously they did very well in this seat, especially given the kind of third, fourth in the other seats. Does this show that the Liberal Democrats may pick up some list seats, or do you think the Liberal Democrats are expecting a reasonably good night for them?
I don't really know about the Liberal Democrats too much, or how the election system works so much. I don't really have to anymore, which is a good thing, I suppose. But throughout the election campaign, I think there has been a few kind of missteps from the Liberal Democrats. So I don't know. I'll wait and see.
Yeah, and can you just remind everyone which general election it was that you won your prime ministerialship?
I did not win my premiership at an election. The Labour Party, I can't remember actually. It was something like General Election 5, maybe, where the Labour Party won an enormous, 30 seats, and I came off the back of Can Triforce's wonderful leadership.
That's very interesting. It's always good to hear the history of MHoC, particularly for some of our politicians and next generation of viewers of our streams. I think we're able to bring in K Wilson now, 92. Can you hear us, K Wilson?
No, that's not a good sign.
Okay.
Well, hopefully he'll be back in time to react on this, because we can bring in, in fact, we're bringing in two constituencies that are going to declare simultaneously here.
Oh.
This is West London and Leeds and Wakefield.
This is exciting times.
Yeah, two constituencies at once. You didn't get this in the Bastard days. And West London, we see a win for the Green Party. Again, apologies for the issues with the graphics. Clearly something's gone a bit wrong. But we see this is an impressively narrow one, a majority of 3,300. So that was an extremely close call for the Tories here.
So narrow, so
Do you-
close.
I think
so
that's
far.
meant. Sorry, I think that's meant to be 33,315.
Oh, it is. Don't you look silly?
Sorry. 33,015, but I'm sure.
Whoops.
I'm sure to Equipton it will feel like it's 3,315. Ex-Prime Minister and Speaker, Equipton.
mBBC at its finest.
Say it with me, guys. The graphics are working.
The graphics are working. That's 4 seats. The Greens are on now, and the United Front on 1. Interesting night for the Conservatives already. No. Equipton, endorsements in the NUP. Oh, sorry. It's everybody. Endorsement from the NUP. But interestingly here, we saw endorsement from the Liberal Democrats again. These endorsements have clearly...
Yeah, I think this is definitely a sign that the United Front is working in its role. We've seen 5 gains for the United Front, and I think that several of them wouldn't have been gains without the United Front and their cooperation with the Greens. Because I think that this is going to be a huge thing in first-past-the-post seats, where Greens take quite a few seats and United Front take quite a few seats off the back of each other's endorsements. Now, I think this will work for them quite well in the first-past-the-post stage, but it will create an unproportional result, probably result in a few overhangs, and they will not do so well in the list vote.
Right, if we can move on, because we got slightly sidetracked there. So the second seat that can now return is Leeds and Wakefield. Again, oh dear, the graphics aren't quite working, are they? Oh dear. We see the toothpaste dragon winning for communism here.
What? Sorry.
Leeds and Wakefield. Wow,
Wow.
Someone's feeling impartial this evening. This is a very narrow communist win.
That is a nice Labour number.
Oh wow, that is very nice.
Exactly
look at
100,000
That's
votes.
very nice.
It looks like Labour have got the money there, haven't they, with their 100,000 votes?
The People's Republic of Leeds and Wakefield has been established today, comrades.
Now, this is an unexpected United Front seat. I think we've definitely underestimated United Front quite a lot here. It was a relatively slim majority, but this candidate, I don't recall seeing them too much on the campaign trail. But it's certainly very...
They were fairly active on the national campaign. Mumble 8721 in comparison, though, wasn't active whatsoever.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to remember. Okay, they might be conservative in a swing seat almost. This isn't America, but a swing seat. Communists on the rise.
The question is, are they coming for your toothpaste and your toothbrush? Because it looks like they are, doesn't it?
They can have my toothpaste and my toothbrush when they claw it from my cold dead hands. Come at me, commies.
So would this be a good opportunity to bring in a new guest?
I think it would be. I think we can bring in O'Keel UK, who is a communist indeed. Yeah, O'Keel
The
UK.
leader of the Communist Party.
He is the leader of the Communist Party.
And if you fucking touch my toothpaste, I'm going to shove my toothstick. What?
we do apologise.
Right up his arse.
We do apologise for the very coarse language there from one of the hosts.
He was very active on the campaign trail, and he is the Communist Free Foundation, United Front, and South East London candidate. Let's bring them in just now. Hello and welcome to our stream, O'Keel UK. Thanks very much for joining us. Congratulations on your party's victory in this seat.
Yes, hello. I am very excited because all the preliminary results are showing that we will prevent the Conservatives from gaining seats with this United Front and this United Front with the Greens and the Communists and RSP. So I'm very excited for these results. I'm very excited. Let's just keep it at that.
Do you regret not working with Labour though, to form a broader left-wing kind of coalition, as it were?
Because we are taking the seats right now. We are taking, so far, all the seats have been 4 Green seats and 2 United Front seats. And while I think we may lose seats somewhere, probably in rural constituencies, where where our vote will not be as high. I think we've got these seats completely locked down, and that's good because we didn't expect, even in our preliminary polling of the Communist Party, that Leeds and Wakefield would fall to the Communist Free Foundation. So we are very happy with these results. I'm now personally projecting 5 constituency seats for the Communists.
Yeah, let's just go through all the results we've had so far then, just important to recap some, because we can clearly see the Green and United Front results, but we can, yeah. So we've had 4 seats for the Green Party and 2 for the United Front at this point. That's 6 total returns. We've still got another 94 seats to go, which is important to remember for the Conservatives that are concerned right now. Right then, where are we going next? Got any more declarations, Twisted Nook?
Not as of yet, but I'm sure we shall be receiving some more shortly.
Yes, now it's important that the metropolitan seats can declare far more quickly because their constituencies are less spread out. They don't have to ship as many boxes around from station to station. So we're going to see a lot of metropolitan declarations early on, and thus a lot of left-wing declarations early on. And we've projected quite a few left-wing seats, obviously nowhere near majority. So just a reminder to Conservative candidates and Conservative voters who are feeling like very pessimistic that we've still got a lot to see in terms of the rural seats.
Yeah, indeed. Probably going to look at, not sure exactly, hearing some news from Birmingham that we could potentially be going there next. Interesting candidates there. We've got stereotypical worker, he's the Green candidate. Endorsed
I'm afraid I'm going to have to cut in there because we have just been told that there is a declaration imminent from Hampshire South.
Oh.
Hampshire
You got it wrong there, Leachy.
I did get it wrong.
This is the problem.
This is
the problem with predicting. Never predict, my friend. And here we go. A Conservative win. I'm sure the Conservatives. You can all put down the bleach. You can put down the razor blades. It's all right, kids.
Hooray.
You've got a seat.
Congrats to the Conservatives, because now we know that the Conservatives have won at least 1 seat.
Congratulations to the Conservatives.
So you can now form a government. It'll be the smallest government in history, but you can do it.
Lest we remember, though, that the Conservatives have been a lot more active in Hampshire South than the Green Party. So that is something to bear in mind.
Yes, Yoshi was not at all actively campaigning. They were able to target very close to taking the seat in the polls. So it's sad that the majority has gone so big for the Conservatives.
Yeah. It's also important to note. Yeah, it's important to note that Yoshi was quite a helicopter candidate as well, going straight from South London to Hampshire South.
Indeed. Sterling Brown was really active on the campaign trail. They're still probably not expected. It's a Conservative seat. Also, do you expect kind of thing? Well done to Sterling Pindo. Yeah. We can potentially bring someone else in. Kay Wilson, we're going to try him again. Kay Wilson, 92. Can you hear us?
Hello, I can.
Aha.
Hello. Hi there. Thank you for joining us on our stream tonight. And Rachel Chamberlain, thank you very much for joining us as a bringing Kay Wilson. It was a pleasure to have you on, and always great to have some history.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, so Kay Wilson, you're the Transport Party candidate. Is that correct?
Yes.
Great. And which constituency will you be contesting tonight? Can you confirm for us?
I am currently contesting the Kent constituency.
Okay. I don't think we'll be expecting that till slightly later on, looking at previous results. For example. And in terms of just the demographics of the constituency and guessing results with sixth formers and the like. The Transport Party are obviously a bit of a often not in the United Front grouping. Who do they want to see do well in the constituencies which are between left and right?
Well, I am pleasantly surprised about the Green Party at the moment. And before we go any further on that, I'd just like to congratulate my brother, George WB13, who won his seat, which is also my former seat as when I was a member of the NUP. So congratulations to him. But I'm silently holding hope for a Green-led government at the end of this today.
So you'd much rather see a Green government than a Conservative government? Is that correct?
Yeah, I think I would prefer to see. I think I would prefer to see a Green government over a Conservative government.
Now, your party leader, Crazy K9, has been very, very active in condemning United Front and the Greens over their drug policy recently. Would you echo his sentiment on these issues?
There's a lot of things that me and Crazy K9 don't agree with. That's one of them. I think it's a good policy in general, but overall, myself and Crazy K9, we've got the sort of like we agree on a lot, we disagree on a lot, but we always come to a consensus. But we also have like the ability to voice our own sort of opinions, and I support the Green and United Front on their drug policy, whereas he doesn't.
Right, I'm afraid I'm going to have to interject. We have another result coming in. We've actually got two results coming in now. Birmingham, Solihull and Coventry, and South West London. Birmingham, Solihull and Coventry has been a Green win. The Greens fairly narrow victory, 16,517 majority. Again, we see quite a painful showing for in metropolitan areas for the Conservatives and the NUP, and Labour in a close second again, putting them very comfortably in place for list seats. We may see the Parliamentary Labour Party again depending on list seats. I believe in the last term they only had one first past the post and were topped up for the remainder. And the second constituency, South West London, sees Conservatives win in an extremely tight contest with the Greens here. Dominion of Canada narrowly snatching it by 1,634 votes. And we see Eurojack, after a very strong campaign, coming in third, which could well put the Classical Libs on position to perhaps secure a list seat in London. I shall have to see.
Yeah, I mean, commiserations, Eurojack. Let's not be all like that. Commiserations, but Dominion of Canada, ex-leader of UKIP, I mean, it's kind of expected in South West London we get in, but very close between the Greens. We thought that would be a classical Liberal Conservative version of Green sneaking in there with guilty here, but Dominion of Canada just holding on to that one. I think we can bring someone else in now. Thank you very much, Akil UK, for coming on to speak about your party's early victories.
Thank you very much for being here.
No problem. Thank you very much. Right, so we'll be bringing on. So we'll be bringing on Rory Underscore, and he is the Conservative Unionist candidate for Clydeside. Rory, your party's not done so well so far.
All right. Well, it's very early into the night, so you know we're only 7 seats into 100, and I think it's a wee bit too early to be making assumptions. That we've had one disappointing loss, but you know we can more than easily come back from this.
Yeah.
By the end of the night, we'll have a Conservative Prime Minister.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly bring in Horizon 2K. Horizon 2K is the Dem candidate who was running here, with 61,000 votes coming last. Horizon 2K, sorry to hear about your not so great performance there. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm quite surprised, to be honest. I spent a lot of time out in the community talking to people. Certainly done a lot more campaigning than the Greens, so it's a shame to see that.
Yeah. What did the people you talk to say? We're not going to vote for you.
Not so much, you know. But obviously there was a lot of separate issues going in. Perhaps we misunderstood the importance that Brexit would have in that sort of constituency. But you know, we've we hold our hope for rest of London, looking at list seats. We didn't expect to win this constituency anyway, so I'm not too surprised. But you know, we're looking to make some modest gains tonight.
Now, this was a very strange result for the Liberal Democrats, because going into the election, you were polling in second place in this constituency. In addition, your performance during the constituency hustings was very strong, with the Channel 4 poll indicating that you won. And in addition to this, your campaign was very active. So it's a great surprise, I think, to all of us to see Guilty Air and Totally Not a Panda, who were paper candidates in every sense of the word, not like doing far better than you.
Yep, it's certainly extremely surprising. I can't say that I'm not disappointed with the result, but we'll have to look back and really go into the analysis and see what's happened there, because that's quite frankly shocking, really, for us to sort of expect that kind of result.
I do think, though, it does add to the disappointment that you are a very local person from what I've seen of the campaign trail. So you were putting forward very local issues. You've got a very well working knowledge of the constituency, and you're a local person by all accounts. So are you not?
I am, yeah. So perhaps perhaps the issues are going to be more national issues, and people were really thinking of a much more national issue. But this certainly goes sort of against what we were expecting. As I said, we weren't expecting to win it, but to come fifth against people who were literally not out on the doorstep is quite disappointing.
Yeah, indeed. Hero Jack, for a minute, let's talk about the classical liberal performance in that constituency.
Yeah.
Very active, you were.
Mm-hmm. Until the second week. I was quite active in the first week, yeah.
I think you're just active generally. Guilty Air, and I think he did many campaigns posts, if at all.
Guilty Air did not do a single campaign post. I believe he commented on a single poll at some stage. I think that's it. Or on the constituency hustings, and that's it.
That'd be disappointing for you. But in the past, classical liberals only had one MP, one MSP.
We were polling very low in this constituency to begin with, about 3%, if I recall correctly. And I'm very, very proud of my performance and the fact that I managed to come in third place. I think I'm very happy that South West London has entrusted me.
Absolutely.
Right, I can now inform we're getting another declaration. Things are starting to pick up a bit. This is a triple declaration now.
Triple?
Pick up. East London, Manchester North, and Clydeside.
Oh, come on.
Now, East London, we are seeing, again, a very scraping victory for Conservatives here on majority of just over 2,000. Soudal narrowly taking this seat.
Yes.
What? MBCC bias. Very, very, very...
We're independent.
Leachy, behave yourself. Quite a disappointing showing for the Lib Dems and the Clibs there. Especially Lib Dems haven't been doing particularly well on the London area, so perhaps they'll do better elsewhere. And the next seat, Manchester North, we're seeing Christian Workers' Party securing a seat here.
What?
What? Oh.
Under the United Front banner, the CWP have secured a seat in Manchester North.
Spicy memes here, isn't it?
A majority of 53,485 seeing off a NUP Conservative challenge. You can see here, though, this could be the next election, perhaps an opportunity for an electoral pact to unseat the CWP candidate.
Right.
Okay. Come get spicy memes here. That's what.
Right.
Wait. What about Clydeside?
Indeed. Right.
Clydeside
yeah. 2
is
seconds.
now coming up. Clydeside is a narrow green victory.
Very
strong left wing showing here.
Very strong language from the Conservative candidate.
I don't care. Oh my god! Oh, wow.
Do we get a live reaction?
No. I'm sorry. Right. Okay, they've messed up.
Did it yourself, Rory?
I'm counting that as a Conservative win.
That's a Conservative win.
Oh my goodness! Oh,
wow.
I just noticed
it's a very strong.
What's happened there?
Scotland.
Rory, the Blue Rose Party. Right. Anyway, we've got a lot to talk about.
Why have you got the same?
Well, I've heard of Blue Labour, but this is ridiculous.
Right. Okay.
As East London.
Yeah, these graphics are a bit
to talk about, and not enough time. So let's bring in Snap Crackle.
I would
his amazing performance. The Christian Workers' Party leader. Oh, where did he go? He just ran away. He was in the waiting room. He just ran out the front door. Okay, that's interesting. Rory.
I don't smell that bad, do I?
What? Right, Rory, you came third.
Aye.
Stop laughing at Rory. Rory,
leave him alone.
You worked very hard in that constituency, and your leader's very proud of you.
Thank you.
Obviously, we did really nice campaigning in East Kilbride.
Clearly.
We had great fun there.
Yeah.
Anyway, but third, Vending Machine King, Scottish Labour leader, Wired Cookie, the Green candidate, taking it there. Were the Conservatives expecting third in this constituency, Rory?
No, I was hoping I'd win.
as does every candidate.
Yeah, of course you're hoping you'd win. Vending Machine King. Let's but obviously quite far behind Vending Machine King. Obviously Benji 2212, and not to attempt to pronounce the classical Liberal candidate's name. The two of them weren't active, and you're slightly far behind.
Well, neither was the Green.
You were.
Seems to be the way it's going.
They obviously had the endorsement from the United Front, for example. Sorry. Just get up all of the official endorsements for that constituency. So looking at Clydeside, yes, Wired Cookie received an endorsement from the Scottish Socialist. No, he didn't. Sorry, the Scottish Socialists ran in the seat, but I don't think they won enough seats to even be put on our graphics.
I have a feeling that there might have been a bit of an error because Tadjahar was just in the previous constituency in London, so I think that should be listing Scottish Socialist. There's lots of graphical errors with Rory having a Labour logo, Vending Machine King having a Green logo.
Okay, I think I can clarify. I can clarify for people what is happening here. So, in first we have Wired Cookie 1 with 2,701. We've got Vending Machine King with 262,000. Rory in third with 108,000. Benji 2212 with 384,000. We then have either the Classical Liberal or the Scottish Socialist candidate, which is either Vanilla Donut or Scottish Socialist himself, on 13,101. Final clarification on those. But we'll have to wait and see. Rory, in terms of list seats, how are the Conservatives going to do? It's not a good start for Scotland.
Oh, I don't know.
That's some very in-depth analysis. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Right, no, we can bring on Snapcrack on.
Are you guys going to kick me off because I want?
No, thank you very much.
Wired Cookie is scum. I will have him killed.
Right, thank you very.
Can we not? Can we not?
Thank you very much, Horizon. Oh, he's gone away now. We can just bring in Snapcrack on now. Horizon, you can stay. We need more people.
We need more people.
We do. Snapcrackle.
Bring in the recruits.
Hello and welcome to the stream, Snapcrackle. You, the Christian Workers' Party leader. Brand new party.
You must be feeling very smug.
I'm feeling very, very good right about now.
Very strong and stable.
Strong and stable.
In the Christian interest.
So just to clarify, that was Manchester North, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so Manchester North. Obviously had some wide-ranging endorsements from around the kind of political sphere. Manchester North. Is this Manchester? Oh yeah, sorry. Are you Guerrilla Empire?
I am.
Sorry, yeah, we'll need to refer to you as Guerrilla Empire. You had endorsements from the Green Party and the Liberal Democrats.
Yes.
How are you going to represent communists, socialists, radicals, Greens, and Lib Dems?
And Christians.
And Christians.
Well, I'm definitely going to have to say that this is going to be a very difficult task ahead of me to basically make everybody happy. But I can definitely say that it's a joy to be in Parliament now and to be representing my party, which I started not 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, indeed. And East London, who won the East London seat? Is that Green?
Dun, 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 dun.
2 seconds. Oh, it was a Conservative. Great. So Sterling
Who
Pound.
can tell the difference?
Sterling Pound won that quite considerably on 238,113 against Yoshi. So a good result for the Conservatives there. So before we go to probably what were our next results, let's just check in on the overall results. We've got 3 seats for the Conservatives, 6 for the Green Party, and 3 for the United Front. which includes 1 for the Christian Workers' Party and 2 for the Communist Refoundation Party. Right then. Okay. We're getting another declaration trusted, Nick?
Not as of yet. I'll tell you when we get them, don't worry.
Good, good. Right. So Shostanus, so if we just go back to the Victory for Christian Workers' Party, the Perth fan was fairly active, weren't they? They were the NUP candidate, and Shostanus was endorsed, it was the Conservative candidate by the Classical Liberals, falling way behind. Okay, he was not very active, but endorsed by the Classical Liberals. Guerrilla Empire, you ran a fairly active campaign. How was it contesting other parties that weren't necessarily as active? How easy was it to get your message out there?
Well, personally, I felt that whenever I saw that the NUP and the Tories were running, I was very scared. Actually, I was not very confident in my campaigning and writing skills while trying to juggle school and work on top of that. But I think I ran a very good campaign. I felt I was pretty active in writing up different stories, I guess.
Indeed, absolutely. Congratulations. And obviously now this seat can mean so much. I mean,
do you feel
work
like
with the Greens or the Communists? Who are you looking to work with?
Personally, I promised to work with the Greens in the Green MP in Manchester City and South, and I look forward to cooperation between my party and the Green Party. But I also look forward to working with the United Front members as well, because I have obviously invested quite a bit of my time with the United Front.
Indeed, I think we can bring on another guest, an ex-Prime Minister Inferno Plato, who...
Can I very quickly ask the Christian Workers' Party? You mentioned that you wanted to work with Manchester South and City MP, the Green Party candidate. But how does that play out now that person's actually defected parties? So, were you looking to continue to work with that person? Have they made their way over to Labour, or?
I hope I would be able to work with that person that made their way to Labour, but if I have to, I would work with the other candidate that is in Manchester City and South, and I hope that they're very cooperative and willing to work for a better Manchester.
Indeed, and let's bring in Inferno Plato, the ex-Conservative Prime Minister who won the Prime Ministership at the last election. Welcome, Inferno Plato, to the stream.
Inferno Plato, perhaps we could get a live reaction because we have our next declaration coming in now. This is Nottinghamshire, Merseyside and Essex.
Ooh.
Nottinghamshire has shown an extremely strong victory for the Conservatives. A majority that the number is bollocks, but ignore that. That's quite a big majority, just under 200,000 majority there.
Yikes.
Which is completely eclipsing the other candidates. And quite a painful showing for the United Front, who have done very poorly in Nottinghamshire.
That's very strong and stable.
In Merseyside, we have seen a Labour victory, a very narrow Labour victory. Again, apologies for the issues with the graphic, but a very narrow Labour victory over the United Front, with the right-wing vote being fairly poorly shown here. Labour have won a majority of around 3,000. And finally, Essex, we see an incredibly strong showing for the Conservatives here, with I'll say that's almost as much as their majority is almost as much as the total vote for the Green Party candidate No Pyro No Party. Pineapple Crusher taking a massive vote share there.
That is a very large vote share, well over 50%.
They truly crushed, didn't they? They truly crushed the Greens there.
They've crushed the
okay. So let's bring in Inferno Plato. Welcome.
Welcome.
Okay, so Conservative victories in 2 of those 3 constituencies, a very solid
very strong Conservative victories.
I mean,
Yeah.
as it should be. I mean, we've done great this term with the minority government. I mean, we passed a budget, right to buy, we repealed Tulva, for example, private health tax credits. I mean, why shouldn't we win those seats and gain the confidence of the country?
Indeed,
I mean, on the one hand, the seat before, I believe it was Merseyside, I have absolutely no idea how the RSP did as well as they did, because they've done absolute nothing all term.
Smoothstone is a very new face in the RSP, someone who's been trying to raise the party up, I think, and he joined at the very end of the
I
term.
know. I did really appreciate when he said they was going to sweep up the when there was a poster sweeping up the globe with very revolutionary undertones.
He was very active on the campaign trail too, so I think that's why he did so well.
Threatening people, going, oh, if there was, if the public voted genocide, why not?
Well, clearly Merseyside approved of him, so...
Oh, I'm sure there's somebody up there who approves of him.
Progressive area, so it's...
Okay, right.
We're going to be taking a short break now, mainly so that the people making the graphics can catch up. Yes, sufficing to say things haven't been going quite to plan with this election.
Oh no, of course they have.
Don't fib, Leechy.
Including the results.
Oh, right. Okay. Anyway,
Control
right.
yourself,
Okay.
Inferno.
In a very British fashion, we're going to all go off for a 20-30 minute tea break, and we're all going to come back for our next results in about 20-30 minutes. Go and drink some tea. Go and get your black umbrellas out, and go and do something British. Look, go and watch the proms. Is the prom still on? It's last night at the proms. Go and watch last night at the prom for half an hour. Come back.
Are you
clear your
trying to
mind,
get rid of
see-
our viewers?
Are we
Thank you,
still-
Tim Farron.
Are we
And
live?
with that, we shall see you all shortly.